Hello everyone. So today in this video we will discuss about the World War I. As we know, European countries were divided into two parts, that was the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. Second, we will see what were the causes of the war, phases of war and the consequences of war. So let's start. First, I would like to tell you that World War I, also known as the Great War, which was started in the 1914 and after the assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. So that murder resulted into war across Europe that lasted until the 1918, and the World War I was fought between the Allied powers and the Central Powers. And the main members of the Allied powers were France, Russia and the Britain. And United States also fought on the side of the Allies after 1917. United States joined this war after the 1917. And the main members of the Central Powers were Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire and the Bulgaria. Now we will discuss about what were the causes of the war. So I would like to tell you that there was no single event that led to World War I. The war happened because of several different events that took place in the years building up to 1914. So I mean to say that not only the assassination of France led to the war, there were multiple factors also responsible. So one of the factor is the new international expansionist policy of Germany. In 1819, the new emperor of Germany, Wilhelm II, began an international policy that sought to turn his country into world power. So Wilhelm II wanted to be ruler of the world. So Germany was seen as a threat by the other powers. So destabilized the international situation that was the threat created by the Germany was a concern for the Britain and other European countries. So mutual defense alliances was also a responsible factor. So countries throughout Europe made mutual defense agreement. These treaties meant that if one country was attacked, allied countries were bound to defend them. So the alliances that were created, the Triple Alliance 1882 linked Germany with Austria, Hungary, Italy, that was the one group, and the Triple Entente, which was made up of Britain, France, Russia, concluded by 1907, that was the second group. So there were two rival groups in Europe. Now the other factor is imperialism. Before World War I, Africa, parts of Asia were point of a contention among the European countries. So because of their raw materials, the increasing competition and the desire for greater empires led to an increase in the confrontation that helped push the world into the World War I. And the other factor is the militarism. So as the world entered the 20th century, an arms race had begun. By 1940, Germany had the greatest increase in the military buildup, and the Great Britain and Germany both greatly increased their navies in this time period. So this increase in militarism helped push the countries involved into war. Now, phases of the war, the conflict developed on several fronts in Europe, Africa and Asia. But two main scenarios were the Western Front and the Eastern Front. So the conflict developed on several fronts in Europe, Africa, Asia, and the two main scenarios were the Western Front, where the Germans confronted Britain, France and after 1917 the Americans, and the second front was the Eastern Front, in which the Russians fought against the Germans and Austro-Hungarians. And in 1917, two events changed the course of war. The United States joined the Allies, and Russia, after the Russian Revolution, abandoned the conflict and signed a separate peace. So the Great War was over. But now we will discuss about the consequences of the war. So first is the economic consequences. Because World War I cost the participating countries a lot of money. Germany and the Great Britain spent almost about 60% of the money their economy produced. Countries had to raise taxes, borrow money from the citizens. They also printed money in order to buy weapons and other things they needed for war. This led to inflation after the war. And now we will discuss about the political consequences. So World War I brought an end to four monarch system. Tsar Nicholas II of Russia was ended, Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany ended, Emperor Charles of Austria ended, and the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire had to step down. So that was the summary of the World War I. Thank you very much.